morning. Happy Monday. I am back in Studio C. I feel like this is Studio C. I've had a number of studios here in Nashville. I feel like this one is Studio C. Anyway, I'm back in Nashville. Returned from Idaho, Sun Valley, Idaho. By the way, it's too early for a by the way. I'm going to come back to that. So, welcome to the show. This is the Be Your Own Hero show. Hero is an acronym. It means helping everyone reaps optimism. In other words, helping others helps you. It's a reciprocal action. I'm your host. I'm sekouwrites. I'm a professional creative. And that means I'm an author, journalist, playwright, jewelry maker, lots of other things. And I'm also the creator of the Hero Ministry Movement, which is my effort to uplift and inspire people in general and the unhoused community in specific. So join me here Monday through Friday, 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time, 8:45 a.m. Central, 7:45 a.m. Mountain, to hear me talk about my journey of becoming not just my own hero, but my own financial hero. So that said, shout out to New Thought Media Network for allowing me this platform to talk about my journey of becoming my own financial hero. And I hope this show serves you in some way to help you become your own financial hero. All right. Quick disclaimer, I am not a personal trainer, nor am I a financial advisor, so take what I say with a grain of salt. Okay, now I'm coming back to the by the way that I started earlier. So by the way, Sun Valley, Idaho has a population of only 1,500 people. What? Yes, very small town. And the population of Black people in that town is 26. 26. So I made 27. I was the first Black person to arrive from the work offsite. There were more, but everyone else arrived the next day. So that was interesting. I was wondering kind of why I was drawing so many stares, but that's why. They were like, oh, we don't know him, because everyone knows everybody. Literally, the people who live there, they were talking about, they can't go to the store without running into people they know, because everyone knows everybody because it's such a small town. Anyway, so that's where I was. I was in Sun Valley, Idaho. I'm back now. Long travel day, both ways. It's a difficult place to get to, and I'm sure that's on purpose. The harder it is to get to, the more isolated it can be. So that said, I'm trying to decide if I'm going to tell you these travel stories. The travel stories were a little crazy. I'm going to tell you one, maybe two. So on the way back, my first flight kept not landing. Like, it would come down to the landing strip, get one wheel on the tarmac, and then take off again. And we were like, are you going to make an announcement? Like, what's going on? How are you not going to make an announcement when you do that? So about 10 minutes later, he said, oh yeah, there was some, choppy weather down low. So we're going to try it again. And they tried again. And still, one wheel on the tarmac, take off again. And I was like, all right, well, this is going to take a while, so I'm going to use the restroom. So I go use the restroom, the lavatory on the plane, and the flight attendant locks me in there. The flight attendant locks me in there, and she says it's for my own safety. She has to keep me locked in there until they get to the gate, which does not seem like it's safe at all. That does not seem like it's safe at all. So anyway, I was not upset at all. For the people who are getting upset right now, I was not upset at all. And I think that's a testament to my new mindset and the fact that I meditate twice a day, transcendental meditation. But it didn't even occur to me to be upset. But as I've told this story a few times since then, people have gotten really upset. Like, oh my God, you should sue the airline. I don't have time for all that. Ain't nobody suing the airline. Anyway, I did think it was unsafe though. So I'm having like a conversation with her through the door. Like, I think probably you should let me go back to my seat. What are we doing? What are we doing? And she seemed to have an attitude about it. And the captain ended up having to tell her to let me out so he could land the plane. And I wanted to say, see, I told you, but I didn't. And I was done with it. It didn't occur to me until later, because I had to run for the next flight, because when we landed, the next flight was already boarding. I had to run for the next flight. And then that flight was delayed. And so I didn't even have to run. And that's when I remembered, oh yeah, I was locked in the bathroom. That was pretty funny. And I posted about it. Anyway, I thought it was funny. Do not get upset. I'm not suing anybody. I thought it was pretty funny. And I wonder if that's true. You know, like if in case of turbulence, they got to lock you in the. I don't know, but it was amusing to me. And I just want to finish this. What I discovered in this example and many others throughout my trip is that I have become much less triggerable. I'm going to make that a word. I've become much less triggerable. And I hadn't noticed that I've become much less triggerable, but I've noticed how people respond to some of the stories. So that's one of the stories that people around me had extreme responses to. And I was just like, whatever. And there were other things that happened in Idaho that really just completely missed me emotionally. But people around me were like, I remember, I won't tell this whole story, but something happened at a restaurant and it was directed towards me, but it didn't even register. But the people around me in my group were like, you see the way she was talking to Sekou? Like it just really didn't affect me. And so that is the power of changing your mindset, changing your state of being, changing the way you view the world, changing the way you move through the world. The impulse, the stimulus cues are the same. The stimulus cues are the same, but your reaction to them can shift. Because when I think about those things now, I can remember a time when I would have been triggered by all those things. I would have written a letter to the president of the airline before I even got off the plane previously. And I mean, I was known to write some letters to the president of companies, but complaining takes too much time and energy. So I am realizing that in retrospect. Like I didn't realize the effect that transcendental meditation was happening. And I'm sure it's not just transcendental meditation. I'm sure it's everything. But I didn't realize the effect that it was creating within me until I realized that I was not really reacting to things that the people around me were reacting to. So I take that as a blessing. And that was a complete sidebar. I didn't mean to talk about that at all. That is not on my list of things to talk about today, but it just occurred to me. All right, so moving on. Hero Ministry Movement News. Today is day 371. 371 of my run streak. Just a reminder, my original goal was 30 days. 30 days. And I started in June of last year. So this is anniversary month. Yeah, this is anniversary month. This is my birthday month. My birthday is the 24th day of this month. And last year, this month, I started the Hero Charity Run before it was even called the Hero Charity Run. And my goal was to just run 1 mile every day for the month of June for my birthday month. And look what it has become. Look what it's become. Who knew that I would still be doing this a whole year later and all these other things would have happened? I hope everyone has seen the news story about me. I've been sending it to everybody. After it took me like 4 or 5 days to watch it, now I've sent it to everybody. Have you seen it yet? Oh yeah, let me send it to you. Watch yourself with them. So it's a really good story. They did a really good job. And what? And I did some things by accident that turned out to work very well. Like, if you've been watching the show, that I originally created the run report to keep my mom up to date on what was happening with the run. But that became very instrumental because the news station, Channel 2, used the footage from the run reports and spliced it together to tell a story. And if I hadn't had that, then wow, it would have been an entirely different story. And so I was about to say again, but I guess it's not again. You just don't know where you're being led and why you're being led unless you keep going. Like, who knew that all of that would come into play, the footage that I created previously. So anyway, I hope everyone has checked it out. I put it in the link in my bio on social media. I'm also going to put it on my website. I haven't done that yet, but it's a really great story. Okay, that said, moving on. Today, the run report. Yes, the run report is up for today. Today is day 371. Check it out. What I've done for this month is a couple of things. Number one, I've upped the ante. So for year one, for the past 365 days, my minimum was 1 mile a day. And I've upped the ante, at least for the month of June, to 2 miles. So that's my new minimum. I raised the floor a little bit. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it's psychologically, it's a bit of a stretch. Because before I knew, you know, if everything goes sideways, all I got to do is get in a mile, and a mile isn't that much to me anymore. But now I got to get in 2. So today, especially, I was like, ooh, I got up late. I was like, ooh, I got to get these 2 miles in. So I'm doing that. That's the first thing I'm doing for my birthday month challenge. Second thing I'm doing that you already know about is I am raising $3,650. Let me say that again, $3,650. That's a derivative of 365 for Back on My Feet nonprofit. I love the fact that I just stumbled across this nonprofit that combines running and working with the unhoused community. So I'm very excited to be working with them, raising money for them. The number is, again, a derivative of 365. So that's in celebration of the fact that this is my anniversary month. 365, raising $3,650 for them. The link is just Hero Charity Run. Let me put that up on the screen. The link is Hero Charity Run. Feel free to share that with people and spread the news, spread the word. That'll take you right to the link for Back on My Feet. It will also show hyperlinks for the previous nonprofits that I've donated to. And so that you can interact directly with those nonprofits, make direct donations, or just find out what they do, and just keep this momentum of giving going. So that said, a couple of people asked me to explain the marathon thing. So let me explain. So basically, with a big marathon like New York City Marathon, they do their reservations and their qualifications early. So it's a race that you have to qualify for. Normally, like, you got to be fast because they want to reopen the city. Like, New York is a urban metropole, right? They need to reopen the city quickly. So you have to run a certain pace just to qualify. But they do all that well in advance. So the cutoff for that has passed. So for those of us like myself that still want to participate in the New York City Marathon, the way that we participate is by being a fund racer, F-U-N-D, fund racer, which is kind of cool, which means we're raising money for a specific charity that the New York City Marathon has a partnership with. So Back on My Feet nonprofit based in Philly is the one that I chose because of all the synergy that I just mentioned. And they must have like a block of tickets available for the marathon for competitors. And so if you raise the requisite amount of money for the nonprofit, then you are accepted to run in the marathon, right? And you don't have to run as fast as the people who have to qualify. But the only way to get into the New York City Marathon at this point is to raise enough money for a nonprofit. So that's the explanation. So that's what I'm doing. I am raising $3,650 for Back on My Feet during the month of June, my birthday month. I'm going to close that out by the end of the month, and then that will secure my bid to compete in the New York City Marathon, my very first marathon. So that's what's going on for the birthday month. There's a lot going on for the birthday month, but I think that's it. I think that's it. So please support. Please share the link. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put the news story at this link. So when you go to HeroCharityRun.com, you'll see the news story first. And that'll get people activated and involved. And one more thing kind of related to this. When I was in Idaho, my charity run was quite a topic of conversation because my day 365 was in Idaho. And so everyone on the team became aware. So that's about 20 people or so. And in the process of that, some of them became inspired to do something. And one of them in particular, I'm not going to shout her out by name, but one of them in particular has started a walk streak. And today is her day 3. So shout out to you. I'm going to send you love and energy. And I'm so excited that what I've done has inspired people, period. I get messages from strangers saying that I've inspired them to do something. And that just fills my spirit so much. But this one really, in particular, because I met her and we interacted, and she has been inspired to do something because of me. So that really touches my heart. So very excited about that. Okay, Moving on. Moving on. I'm finally going to be able to do a dice roll challenge. I don't know what, I'm sure I packed the dice, but I couldn't find it in Idaho. I don't know what's going on, but I got the dice now. So we're going to do the dice roll challenge. And let me make sure I got everything. Oh, one more thing. So if you've been watching me talk about the interview on Channel 2, then you've heard me say that I did my best work in the coffee shop. I gave my best quotes. I gave my best energy in the coffee shop before we went outside to do the interview. But I was talking to one of my friends this weekend, and she suggested that, well, maybe the interviewer did the coffee shop thing on purpose to see if I really had a story to tell. And I passed, and that's how we went outside to film it. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but I choose to believe that's true because that makes me feel much better about how I was thinking about it. And that's important because all of us have the power to reframe something that we think of as quote unquote negative in a positive way. And sometimes we need a nudge from someone else, but we all have the power to choose what the story means. So if there's a story that you're nursing in a negative way, you can choose right now to flip it, to change the narrative and nurse it in a positive way. And so I just gave you my example. My example, once again, was I was feeling kind of down about my interview because I felt like I did the best of the interview inside the coffee shop before we went outside to shoot. But thinking about it in the way that it was reframed for me, like maybe the interviewer needed to see if I had a story to tell before to decide whether or not we were going to go outside to film it. That makes me feel better about it. So I want to give that as an exercise to everybody. I'm sure right now you're nursing something that you're like, I didn't like how that went. Well, reframe it. Reframe it. Choose to believe something positive about that action. Get in the habit of reframing, because that one got past me. It got past me. I didn't even realize I was, nursing something negative until that happened. So that's my advice to you. Reframe it. All right, let's get back to the Dice Roll Challenge. So Dice Roll Challenge, it's been a while. Got to give it some extra energy. Dice Roll Challenge, number's 4. The number is 4. All right, so I'm going to leave that up there and make a note so that we can all do a tally at the end of the week. Reminder, the purpose of this is to set aside money to invest. Set aside money to invest, set aside money to invest, not for other things. This is strictly investment money. Why? Because the biggest excuse people give for not investing is they don't have enough money to invest. And here we go. We got a game show styled way to set aside money to invest, right? That means you always have money to invest. You can get your own dice and roll the dice at home. You can even graduate to using 2 dice at once. But you have to establish a habit before you can improve the habit. Now, this may feel like too small. It may feel like not enough. It's only $4. It may seem like it's too small, but it's not about the dollar amount. It's about the mindset habit. It's about the habit of every day taking a little bit of money out of your checking and putting it over into this space to invest. It's the habit. And then the habit gets better later. I was talking about this yesterday with one of my friends. We met for coffee. And the habit of setting money aside is difficult in 2 places. It's difficult when it's a little bit of money because you feel like, I'm not doing anything, right? It's also difficult when it's a lot of money because you're like, wait a minute now, I'm not setting aside that much money, right? So you do it when it's a little bit of money like this, like $4, because you're establishing the habit so that when a big check comes in, you have no problem setting that money aside because you're used to it. You develop the habit of it. And that's what serves you. That's what sets you up for your future self, for your future reality. Okay, that was a bit of a tangent, but I haven't been live in a while. All right, so what else did I want to talk about? Oh, Morning Zen. I mentioned this book called The Happiness Advantage that I learned about from one of the other people at the work retreat in Idaho. And I've been reading that one here and there. And this stood out to me today. Let's see. Okay, so I've said this before, but the more you study truth, the more you study abundance, the more you study wealth, the more you study becoming your best self, you will find that the messages become more and more the same. That Jay-Z is saying the same thing as Jay Shetty, that Oprah is saying the same thing as Deepak Chopra. They're all saying the same thing in their own way. So this is another example of that. So this is from a book called The Happiness Advantage. And here we go. Here's a quote. What we spend our time and mental energy focusing on can indeed become our reality. I mean, that's The Secret, right? Everyone's heard of The Secret, I hope. If not, check that out. But that's what we're talking about. We're talking about you spending your time and energy focusing on something. It becomes your reality. What you think about, you bring about. What you think about, you bring about. That's why people say you can't have any worse fears, because you're giving too much energy to your worst fear. You're bringing it into manifestation. I know many of you can speak to that. You've had a worst fear and you thought about it a lot, and then it came to pass, right? You manifested it by giving it your attention. So that is something to remember, and something that resonates in many different places, many different teachings and schoolings. All right, so here's another one I want to read. So countless studies have found that social relationships are the best guarantee of heightened well-being and lowered stress, both an antidote for depression and a prescription for high performance. I'm going to read it again. Countless studies have found that social relationships are the best guarantee of heightened well-being and lowered stress, both an antidote for depression and a prescription for high performance. Social networks, being social, interacting with people. And usually when we're feeling bad, that's the last thing you want to do. That's the last thing we want to do, is go interact with someone. We want to sit somewhere and mull and stew and isolate. Well, this suggests that the opposite of that is what's going to help us. Go interact with people. Even if you just pick up the phone. I don't want to get into the whole social media conversation. That's a whole other animal. But just pick up the phone, interact with someone. It'll get you out of your mental quagmire, right? It'll get you out of that. Get you out of the quagmire and move into a more positive energy. So there's lots of gems in this book. I'm going to keep reading it, and I'm going to keep reading snippets from it. But it's good. But basically, the overall theme is this. We become more successful when we are happier and more positive, not the other way around. You get happy and positive first, then you become more successful, right? But we've taught to do it the other way around. If we achieve this, then I'll be happy. Nope. Get happy now, and then you achieve more. What's that quote? Be happy now for no reason, or you will never be happy at all. There it is. Okay, so that's Morning Zen. I'm feeling super chatty today. All right, so yeah, that's all. The car affirmation. Yeah, that's right. I had you guys create a car affirmation. So let's do our abundance affirmation, and then you're going to do your car affirmations to yourself. I hope everybody's got them, and let's do both. So my alarm's going off already. I can't believe my alarm's going off already. So let's do the abundance affirmation. And again, this was remixed from something I learned from Bob Proctor. The reason it's powerful is because it has the feelings written into the affirmation. And so when you say the words happy and grateful, you are reaching for the emotional equivalent of that. You want to feel happy. You want to feel grateful. So here we go. I am so happy and grateful to be a multi-millionaire in every area of my life. One more time, give it more feeling. I am so happy and grateful to be a multi-millionaire in every area of my life. Ashe. All right, so I'm going to give you a second to do your car affirmation. You're applying the same principles. You're applying the feeling tone of gratitude for it manifesting right now. You have to have a affirmation that's present tense and preferably that uses your name. Like I, Sekou, am happy to own a fill in the blank. All right, so I'm gonna just play my opening trailer again to give you a couple seconds to do that, and then we'll reconvene in a second. Okay, so did you do it? I hope you did it. I hope you just didn't watch the trailer and not do your car affirmation. I hope you did it. Anyway, while you were doing that, I got into the comments and there's a couple things I want to say. So shout out to the people who are watching live. Shout out to Gladys. Shout out to Linda. I was just in Colorado, Linda. I had a layover. Oh, that's the layover. When I got locked in the bathroom and had to run through the airport, that was Denver. That was Denver. All right. Yes, a reminder that we don't need to take on other people's energy. Right. Right. Now, I wasn't even thinking about it at the time. I was just telling people funny stories about things that happened, and I watched them have bigger response than I was having, bigger responses than my own responses. And I realized, hey, I've created some Zen for myself. This transcendental meditation thing is working. All right. Shout out to you, Nan, Margareta. Oh, so if you're talking about what I'm talking about, I'm talking about the fact that I was on the news here in Nashville. Channel 2 did a story about me and my year-long charity run. And if you haven't seen that, I've posted it everywhere. It's all over my social media. But I will post it here too, herocharityrun.com. But if we're connected on social media, Margareta, so it's all over my social media. Trust me, I posted it quite a bit. I'm going to repost it again today. It's a great story. All right. Anyway, I hope everyone did their car affirmation. And I just want to say, I'm actually running short on time, which I didn't expect to happen today. I thought today was going to be a short show. But just a couple things I want to ping very quickly about abundance. Today is a very big day. Today is a very big day. Why? Because Amazon is supposed to be splitting their stock today. Now, let me explain what that means in layman's terms. So Amazon stock right now is about $3,000 per share. Well, Friday, it was $3,000 per share. Today, because it's about to split, it's about to be $125 per share. What? $125 per share. Something that used to be $3,000 per share. So I think the exact number is 122. Doesn't matter. If the stock split goes through, Amazon stock will become very accessible. Now, I mentioned this before, and I told you what I did. What I did is I bought $300 worth of fractional shares of Amazon then, so that if and when it split, I would automatically get 2 shares. So I've done that, and hopefully it splits today and I get the 2 shares. I'm also going to try to acquire more shares. And I think when there's a stock split, there's some kind of delay that happens in the system. I'm not 100% sure what that is, but everybody needs to be checking out Amazon stock today. It's Amazon. It's Amazon. And it used to be $3,000 per share. So if it splits and it goes down to $125 a share, I mean, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm telling you that I am going to be getting some more Amazon stock. And I told you before, I put my $300 up, so I'll get 2 shares automatically if it splits. But I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying it's Amazon. And that's it. I mentioned when I was I really need to close the show out now because I'm over time. But I mentioned when I was in Idaho that I wanted to go shopping, right? And because everyone was shopping, everyone was buying souvenirs and all of that. So I prevented myself from going shopping, from buying stuff, even though I felt like I needed it, I wanted souvenirs. I stopped myself from buying anything. But that only gives me half credit. The fact that I was able to keep my money in my pocket only gives me half credit. The full credit is using the money that I would have spent on souvenirs and buying stock instead. And I haven't done that yet, but I have made some arrangements to do that. My intention is to buy a share of Coca-Cola because the 1 share of Coca-Cola is about the same amount of money that I was going to spend on some shoes in Sun Valley, Idaho. Now, the reason I'm explaining all of this is because that's how we have to think differently. Don't just consume. Don't just buy stuff. Use that money to own your tomorrow. Use that money to own your tomorrow. Sacrifice today to own your tomorrow. So I will keep you posted on when I acquire that share of Coca-Cola for the future, for owning my own future. All right, I'm way over time. Sorry, prayer time. My bad. I don't know. I just got chatty. Maybe it's just being back in the studio. So keep doing. Be a hero. Most important, be your own financial hero. Remember that now is better than perfect, especially in terms of investing. And I will see you here tomorrow, Tuesday. Later.